in Syria has created one of the largest influx of refugees that Europe has ever seen. Men, women and children on a search for a better life. While many European countries have been criticized for the lack of welcome for incoming migrants, Croatia has opened its doors to those fleeing war. Since the Hungarian-Serbian border was blockaded, Croatia is being utilized as a corridor between the two countries and has seen an influx of as many as 10,000 refugees per day, most of whom plan to reach Hungary, Austria or Germany. The Croatian government set up trains and buses along its border with Serbia in order to transport the refugees to the Hungarian border, something Prime Minister Viktor Orban has strongly condemned. Still haunted by memories of its bloody war of independence 20 years ago, Croatia feels an obligation to help the refugees fleeing Syria, even if that means rocking the boat of relations in the Balkan region. Our focus this week is on Croatia.
Hello and welcome to our weekly focus. I'm Tal Heinrich. Croatia recently reopened its border crossing with Serbia after a week of dispute between the neighbors over how to handle migrant traffic. As migrants continue to stream into the country, Croatia says it can handle up to 5,000 a day, but recently had a record daily influx of 10,000. Now, joining us from the Croatian capital is local journalist Lee Murphy. Hi, Lee. Thank you for being on the show.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you very much.
So can you describe to us from Zagreb, what are the implications of 10,000 migrants arriving in one day?
As you probably know, Croatia is the newest addition to the European Union family, the 28th state. In terms of infrastructure, it's possibly one of the poorest. I don't think too many people here would disagree with that assertion. They arrived on in Croatia. Croatia was quite willing to take them in order to assist them on their journey to their desired destination, which everyone knows is Austria/Germany. And I'm sure you know that Hungary had already closed its border with Serbia in order to prevent the refugees from entering into their territory. So Croatia weathered the storm, so to speak. Although I don't want to imply that, you know, hundreds of thousands of refugees are in some way a bad omen.
And Lee, the choice of welcoming refugees with open arms, do you think it's a somewhat humanitarian gesture by the government or also a wise political measure?
I think it's a mix of both. I think Croatia, of all nations within the European Union, along with my own homeland of Ireland, certainly can't put itself in a position where it turns people away who need assistance, who need somewhere to put their heads down, if only for a few nights. In terms of a political move, certainly Milanovic has gained maybe more respect in the eyes of his peers across, you know, within the European Union. He stepped up, he put his foot down, he pressured Hungary into opening their borders in order to allow safe passage. And after that, when pressure on the Serbian border perhaps came a little bit too tense because the shipping routes were temporarily closed, they quickly resolved that issue. And I don't think that would have been possible even 5 years ago.
Lee Murphy, thank you for sharing your insights.
No problems, anytime.
The city of Dubrovnik on the Adriatic Sea has always been one of the most prominent tourist destinations in the Mediterranean. However, since Game of Thrones started, the tourists coming to Dubrovnik mostly recognize it as the famous King's Landing. And now let's go straight to the set of the HBO series that has conquered the Emmys with record-breaking wins, and say hi to Ivan Vukovic, a Game of Thrones tour guide from the Mediterranean Experience Company, right? Hi Ivan, thank you for being with us.
Hey, good afternoon from Dubrovnik.
So, Ivan, did Game of Thrones contribute somehow to the city of Dubrovnik, financially maybe?
Oh, Game of Thrones brought so many younger folks here in the city of Dubrovnik and probably brought the great propaganda, because Dubrovnik still in October is overcrowded with people. So I think it's going to be a very long season in the city of Dubrovnik. So we are all now in King's Landing on Game of Thrones setting, and we have so many groups that we hardly can handle them through the high season.
So where do you take your groups? What do they mostly want to see, the Game of Thrones fans?
Yeah, the tourists, when we go on the Game of Thrones tour, it's mostly the tour, because we go outside of the walls, because majority of the things was filmed outside of the old city. So we go through the Pile Bay to the place where it was a Red Keep, and then we go all around the city in some side streets for that walk of shame, and they see many smaller settings. But it's very hard to handle the big groups now, because the entrance for the Game of Thrones is increasing every year.
And why do you think Dubrovnik was chosen as King's Landing? Is there something in the local history which supports this choice, maybe?
So, well, they said it's a perfect candidate as a King's Landing to be a setting of the Game of Thrones. It has a huge historical value. Here it has its own walls, noble families, so probably some conspiracy games, theories, so probably they like to make it in something which is mostly like medieval city, so they used it as a setting, and also the reason plus was probably it's a UNESCO World Heritage.
Ivan, and we can't let you go without asking you, who is your favorite Game of Thrones character?
Oh, my favorite Game of Thrones character? I am pretty sure, for sure, that it's Tyrion Lannister or Peter Dinklage, because he's always the guy he has to be, always honest one. And of course, at least he didn't die yet in the Game of Thrones.
Exactly, and he actually saved King's Landing in the Battle of Blackwater. Ivan, thank you so much for this great interview.
Thank you very much.
And now let's see what else is going on in Croatia.
The Croatian president had a meeting with Secretary General Ban Ki-moon at the UN headquarters in New York last week. The main topic of the meeting was how to resolve the ongoing refugee crisis faced by Europe. During the meeting, the two leaders reportedly discussed the possibilities of solving the global problems of illiteracy and the lack of access to education, which contributes to rising intolerance, growing extremism, and numerous conflicts. Croatia has developed the largest livestock transport ship in the world, and they are calling it a floating hotel for animals. It will be over 180 meters long and will have 28,000 square meters of cargo space. The vessel will be able to transport 80,000 sheep or 10,000 cattle and 23,000 sheep, and will connect Australia and the Persian Gulf with a special focus on safety of animals. In an attempt to address traffic issues, the popular tourist destination of Dubrovnik will begin to charge cars who wish to enter the city and stay for more than 1 hour. According to the city, the goal is not to raise revenue, but to bring order and reduce pressure on the city center. The citizens of Dubrovnik and supply vehicles will not be included in the new system. A Croatian football club, Hajduk Split, has one more thing to add to its official list of merchandise. Along with its own beer, soft drinks, collector's coins, lighters, car fresheners, and mobile phone covers, Hajduk introduced a new product, its very own snack. All proceeds from the sales of the crunchy, peanutty snack will go to the club. The 2015 Croatia Pizza Cup, now in its second year, which awards the best pizzas in Croatia, was held recently at Hotel Panorama in the northern town of Prilog. Kristina Haluzan from the Zagreb pizzeria O'Hare was given first place. Haluzan's victory has assured her a place in the Pizza World Cup in Rome.
Unfortunately, broken hearts can be found all around the world, but only in Croatia did somebody decide to give them a museum of their own. The Museum of Broken Relationships in Zagreb offers a chance to overcome an emotional collapse through creation by contributing to the museum's collection. And with us now is the co-founder of the museum, Mr. Drazen Grubisic. Hello. Sorry for pronouncing your name.
Hello, thank you for inviting me.
First, we have to know, who is the broken-hearted person that established this museum?
Well, the whole thing started from a really personal thing, and that's me and my ex-girlfriend breaking up. Oh. And that happened in 2006. And While we were breaking up, we were also discussing what to do with the objects that are left behind. And somehow this idea of wouldn't it be great if there was some place where you can store all these objects and all these memories and kind of keep them safe, keep them alive, but at the same time keep them away from yourself, because they tend to be pretty painful at those moments. Somehow this idea of wouldn't it be great if there was a museum? So we just started with it as an art project, and then it just grew and became what it is right now.
Tell us a bit about the concept behind the exhibitions. What do you present there?
Well, the concept is, we could say, extremely simple. We get objects from people that have broken up, and they write their own story. So we don't edit the texts. It's pretty amazing how well people write. That's also one thing. They also say where the object came from and how long the relationship lasted. So it has this museum-like feeling. First we started with just Zagreb, and then as we continued to travel, we've visited some 30 cities so far. So the collection grew, and now it really represents the whole world.
So the museum advances, as you say, a certain emotional process, but is it aimed at the people contributing to the exhibitions or at the visitors themselves?
Well, I think that just giving people the opportunity to donate something to the museum really helps a lot. We know that because we do get emails and letters, like thank you notes, saying how much this helped them. Because in real life, people tend to like rituals. We have rituals for many things, but there is nothing when you break up. There is absolutely, you're just left alone. And this kind of gives you an opportunity to donate, to write your story, to share it, and in a way it changes context and it becomes something new.
I can definitely contribute something of my own. Thank you so much for this interview, sir. A very interesting location for sure. Our next guest, Croatian photographer Tomislav Buza, has launched a time-lapse project called Let's Go Croatia. His goal is gathering Croatia time-lapse videos and compiling them into one final video, which will present the whole country. And he's now joining us. Hi, Tomislav.
Hi, and thank you for having me in the show.
Tell us, how did you come up with this idea?
Well, yes, I was shooting time-lapse for the past few years, and before 6 months, I started my own time-lapse vlog on my YouTube channel. And after that, after a few months of vlogging, I decided to go a step further, and that is to shoot and to produce one time-lapse video. This time-lapse video is unique because there will be, besides my footages, also footages from the different authors who lives in different part of Croatia.
How complex is such a large-scale production? How many locations do you have?
Well, the production is complex because me and my colleagues from studio have to gather the footages from the many authors, and we have to make some kind of we have to judge which footages will be represented in video, in final video. After we make selection of the best footages, we have to write some kind of screenplay, produce the music which will be represented in the video, and after that we have to go. We are going to the final montage, on the final cut, the final edit of the video.
And what is the purpose of this project? Is there some message behind it?
Well, there is no hidden message behind the video. The idea is to collect the videos from the different authors and to see if there is possible to make one final video which is crowdsourced which is built from crowdsourced footages from the authors, which are collaborating on the one single project. And yes, the main message is to show the beauty of the Croatia, how the local people see their own country.
Tomislav, thank you so much for this interview. And we wish you a lot of luck in your project. And Croatia, as he said, is of course very, very beautiful. So we're going to leave you with the beautiful images of the Croatian time lapse, and see you again next week in another Focus.